So in today's recording, we're going to be doing this activity here, which is to just build your first app. And we're just going to be following all of the instructions that are on this website here from the Android Developer Studio. And it's the very basic first thing that you might do, which is to just build your first app. So first you come here and you might read all of these things about the overview, then go to next, and then from here we first start to create our first project. So if I were to go over to the studio, Android Studio, and if I were to close this project that I'm currently in at the moment, then you get where we are starting from. I'm going to create my first app 4 as a new project here, and the first thing to do here is to go down and click empty activity, make sure that is checked, and then click next. Then it says here, what do we name this project? First new project here, empty activity, configure name, and then we're going to give it this, my first app. But my first app, because I've got many of these, I'm going to make this number 4 space and then 4 and then finish. So then that goes away and it starts creating a lot of things down here as well. We're going to wait for these over on the left hand side, and then eventually when it finishes we will do these next steps. Okay, it will display with something like this. We're just going to wait for that. While we're waiting for that, we can scroll through here, and these are the different things that it creates as well while it's creating that first project for us. And then when that appears, the next thing that will happen is just to run the app and see what we get. So when we run the app, we can do it on a device, a connected actual mobile device, Android device, or we can do it on a virtual device, an emulator. And we're going to use the emulator one here. So that's the thing we're going to do here. Make sure that is all loaded now. And checking what all this version stuff here is. That is still chugging away. So what we'll do is just check that I have my emulator here. It's turned on, and okay, everything seems okay now. So what I will do is I will launch the app going into this emulator, and that will show some things here. While it's doing that, and we just wait for it to load because it's still working away. Then it will load the app that we have, the very basic version of just a Hello World app, into here. It's just building the app at the moment. And it's installing it, and it's about to appear, and here it is. And that's all it is. It's just a little bit of text saying hello world, and no buttons, no other features here. and that's all you have. And then what you can do here is you can stop the app. That's what you get out of the box. So then the next part of this tutorial, we'll click next, is to start building a simple user interface. So there's some theory here about what interfaces are, what a view is, what a view group is, and then some instructions on what to do. So what we need to do is go to this place here, app, res, layout, MainActivity XML, which is just this one here. Then let's make some more space by closing this emulator window. Then when you see on here, when you look on here, what you see is this is just zoomed out so much. We'll make it a bit smaller so you can see this is the screen that we're working on, the surface area. Then you go to the project window, and then we go to make sure we're in the design. So we are in the design here on the top right, and then make sure we're in the blueprint, which I think we are because it looks blue, and we check that here. And then we will click view options and make it show all constraints. So we do this and make sure that is checked here like that. And then we also make sure that the auto connection is off, so it should have a line through it. So auto connection is this one here. Then we make sure that has a line going through it. And then we'll change this, the default margins, to 16. So the default margin is this one here. Go over here and just select that into there. And then come over here and see which device we want to select. So the one we'll select is the one that ends with Pixel XL, and the numbers might be a little bit different, but what we'll do is just select the one that is just called Pixel XL, and it ends with 560 dpi. So I'll just select that one. That changes the screen size slightly, and then you'll have a layout like this. Then you go to read some more theory about the constraints. So constraint is just a way of making sure there's a distance between different objects and the size of the screen. So that's what we're going to do when we create the objects as well, such as the text box. So the first thing that we're going to do here is remove whatever is in there already. So this thing here is just corresponding to this here. So we just click that and then press the delete button. Then that gets rid of what we have in here as a default. Then you go into the palette and then text, and then go to plain text and drag that across. So palette, text, plain text, and drag one of these plain texts across. So I'm going to put it on the top here, and then maybe try to center it around there. Yep. And just have a look and see what we have to do next here. Click on the view, design editor, square handles, and then zoom. So what we should do here is then get some constraints. So we want to make some constraints so that it looks like this. Make a constraint to the top and a constraint to the left. So what we'll do here is just zoom in a little bit more to see what we're doing. Then what we'll do is we'll put this one here and just drag it up to way past out the top. And then over here we will do the same on the left hand side, and you'll see that it moves to the left hand side. And then there's a distance here that's automatic of 16, and that's what we want. So that's what we've done so far here. and then we've done it to the left side as well. And now we're going to add a button. So I'm going to go to the palette and then click buttons and then drag a button to the right hand side of the text box. So buttons here, button, and drag a button to the right hand side of the, just somewhere there, right of the text box. And then here we are going to create a constraint to the left, from the left of the button to the right of the text box. So that means the left of the button to the right of the text box. So like so. So it's 16 as well in that difference. And then we're going to do make sure that the baseline is also aligned by right clicking here, then say show baseline, then drag this baseline over to this baseline here. Then that aligns the text. Then that's that, I think. UI strings. Yeah, okay, so the next thing here is the UI strings. Change the UI strings. So select the surface design, and let's see where we're in here. Change this from blueprint to design. So now we see it's gone to a white color. And then we're going to go to strings, project, open res and values here, and then strings.xml. Strings.xml has, as you see here, some place where we can add some keys and values. So you open out the editor here, and then we add a key. The first key that we want is message, edit message. So copy that and paste that into here, and then enter message, as the value, the default value. So that's going to be our default value here. So that's our first string that we've made here, and then we're going to make another one that's going to be used for the button, which is add another key name here called button send. Copy that, paste it into here, and then get this one here. It just says send, so that's going to be the default value. We'll paste that into here, and then that's that bit done. Now what we're going to do is return to the layout file and click activity main XML. Activity main XML is this one here, which is back to this one. That was where we were just now before going to the strings, and then go to the attributes, and if it isn't already available, then locate name. Okay, so this is where we go to the attributes of, which one was it? The text property. So from the text property, so we go to click this, and then the attributes are these things here, under here. And then it said go to the name. So go to name, IJKLMN. So this is all attributes. I have this expanded here, and I'm just going to go down from here, LMN name. Oh no, it's not name, it's text. So it's T, and T, that's the name here. Get rid of the name and just delete that, and then click this little small long button here, then choose edit message, then click OK. And then for the button one, do something similar, which is go to the attributes and then change the text, get rid of the button that's typed in here and put in button send. So that's selected the text that's going to appear in here. And another thing that I want to do while I'm here, which is not in the tutorial, is just to make this a tiny bit bigger, which is the text. No, that's the next bit. So forget about that bit yet for the time being, and just go to here, and that's the send button. And now make the text box size flexible. So what we do is we go back to Blueprint, go over to Blueprint here, from Design go to Blueprint, and then click on both of these things together with a Shift, then go to Chain and put the constraint. Okay, so what we need to do is click this here, and then click Shift, and then right click, Chains, and create horizontal chain. So then that has made a chain and evened it out here horizontally. And then the next thing here is to select the button and then open attributes. So select the button here and then open the attributes. But what it is to go to layout, and that's where you'll see the similar thing to this. And then here you just want to click this twice to match the constraints. So remember here you should have 16 though. So I'm just going to correct that to 16 and then click this twice. That's what it should be. Let's just make this chosen from here. That's better. You have to choose it from the drop down, otherwise it doesn't really recognize it. And then you go match constraints, so that matches the constraints. And now the layout is done, and then you should have something similar to this. Then you can run the app. So let's run the app again. This time we will open out the emulator here, and we'll see that that's what it displays, a text box here that we can edit, and a button. When we click it, nothing happens, which is okay because we haven't made it do anything yet. So we're going to stop that and then just shrink that emulator view back, then go to the next bit here, which is to start another activity. So you press the button and it starts another activity. In other words, it goes to another screen. That's what that other activity is going to be. So to do that, we're going to first go to the main activity. So this is my first app, main activity. So that's the Kotlin here that we have here. That's this file here. And then we're just going to copy this code here in class. So copy this, and then it just covers the whole of this from here, class. Paste that in, and then you get a error here because you have to import. Just roll over that and then you'll get this screen flying out, and then click import, and then here you'll find it's got this view. So it didn't have this before, and that's why it was complaining with a red mark. And now what you might see is you want to do OnClick. You want to, this is the part where we make it go to another activity. which is on the attributes, MainActivity.xml. So we're back in here, and we're on the button here, and then on the button it says, now when we tap the button is from the drop down list. So what we want to do is select the button on the layout editor, and then on the attributes go to the OnClick property and then send message activity. So what we do is we go here, let's just shrink this back, we've selected this button, and let me just go to all of these and then see where OnClick is. JKLMNO OnClick, it doesn't have anything at the moment, so we select this drop down and we go to send message. So send message is the thing that we just created up here. Send message there. So that's okay so far. And then the next bit is to build an intent which links this screen to the next screen. So the way to do that is in MainActivity to come back here to just change all of this now. Change all of this code into this code, which is including the constant here. So copy all of that, Kotlin from constant all the way down, then paste that over all of this bit here, all over the class. So it creates this constant, and then you have the class here, which is your app compat activity. So then that's the code that you need here, and then for that to all work, for now what you need is also these imports here. So copy this import, chunk of imports, otherwise you have all these red marks here. So go up to the import part where you only have 3 lines at the moment. Just paste in all those lines here. Then some of those errors disappear apart from this one, which is correct because we're going to solve that in the next part, which is to just create a second activity. So this is create another screen, a second screen really. So app, new activity, empty activity, app, right click, new activity, activity, empty activity. So click that. And then what are we going to call this new activity? We're going to call it display message activity. So display message activity comes over here, paste that, and then finish. And then we're going to just change this a little bit. Add a text view. So now we're going to go into this activity, new display, new activity that we just created, and just make it small a bit. Smaller, so it fits in, so it just fits in. Here we go. And then I could just shrink this. Okay, I'll just leave it like that. And then what we want to do is drag in from the palette a text and a text view. So go to text and text view, just drag that in and put that here in the middle, so it just sits in the middle there, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so this will display the text nicely. And this is the bit where I'm going to change one of these things that it doesn't say in the tutorial, but for my screen it seems to be better if I do it this, which is to just change the text size from 14 to say 20. So it just makes the text show up a little bit bigger. And then I want to make some constraints here. So I will just make a constraint up here. And so it will be, enable the parent. So I should do that. And then drop that in here. I'll just make that 16. Okay, then that enables that, and then now it looks very similar to this here. So that's what I want, and that's okay. That looks okay. And now to display the message, what I need to do is copy this piece of code here from display message activity on create. So display message activity should be this one here, the Kotlin file. So this is just override on create override on create. So it's not from the very top. You have to be careful that it's actually just this part here. So I'll just paste that part in there. And then it needs to have these imports, otherwise it can't operate, and it gives all these errors here. So if I just click this, I see what it's got, and it doesn't have enough of these imports. So I paste in all of these, and all of the red messages go away. Then I need to, the final thing here is to add the upward navigation. So I just have to copy this here, then go to a file which is in the manifests folder, and go to this manifests here, and then just look for display message activity. Display message activity. So display message activity is this part here. So I'm just going to paste over that, and then let's see where we're at. Run the app. So this should have created an app for us, and now we're going to run it. I'm going to open up the emulator screen and see if it works. So it displays this, and then it says enter a message. So I'm going to get rid of this message, that is the default message here, and then just say something else. Make it say something else. Hello, and some exclamation marks here. Send, and then hello. Yes, it just takes that text and pushes it to this next screen, and then we can go back to that screen using this. So that is how you make your first app, very simple app, using the Android Developer Studio. Thank you very much for watching.